That's, I believe, what makes people successful
Mhm.
in investment space is they're willing to adapt in what the market needs and sees. And so that's awesome. I'm excited for you to
Yeah,
do many.
it's being nimble,
Yeah.
right? And then having the best partner to be able to do that with.
Oh, yeah.
So you look at a deal and say, "Well, gosh, this is kind of new. I don't
Yeah.
really know a lot of information about that. Let me learn more."
Absolutely. Growing and learning,
Yeah.
100%. Hello, welcome. Today we're going to talk to one of my favorite top investors and what she did in 2024, what she learned, what she grew from, and what opportunities she sees in 2025. If we haven't met, my name is Lesa with Rain City Capital. I've been in the real estate market for over 20 years. When I'm not helping my clients fund their deals, I'm here speaking with top professionals in the industry. I can't wait for you to hear this. Megan, how are you
I'm
doing?
doing great. How are you?
Good. I haven't seen you in a long time. It's
Right.
been a couple months.
It has been.
Man, 2024 has been interesting. Tell me, what were some successes in 2024?
So I've two very different houses that I did some rehab on.
Mm-hmm.
And one was a home run. It was in Shoreline, lots of profit. And then I had a manufactured home, and not a lot of people know about what to do with a manufactured home and what to look for. And I love manufactured homes.
I know you do.
And it wasn't a home run, but it was successful. And so if later we have a chance to talk about manufactured home flipping, then
Yes.
let's go into that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, then 2024, what did you find was a success for you? Like, what did you do in your business differently than you did in 2023? Tell me about that.
So, was it success? Yes, it was.
I think it was because I have your numbers and it was very successful.
That's right.
Yes, you were.
Yes.
Yes.
So what made it successful was, I think, just having more capital to be
Mm,
able to do more projects.
got it.
And so the bad projects offset the good projects,
Yep.
and overall there was a nice net profit with the business.
Got it.
But it's streamlining everything, really getting everything down, getting the process down, knowing this is going to be a 30-day rehab, this is going to be a 45-day rehab, this is going to be a longer rehab. These are the type of permits that needed to
Yep.
be done. I've been more diligent in checking with the jurisdictions to find out what type of permits are needed.
Yes, that's good. Smart.
And it definitely does help for resale on homes to show, hey, you know what? We may not have needed a permit for this,
Right.
but just to cover our bases, this is the permit that was pulled for it.
Right. Absolutely. So tell me this, because you've been doing this for 8 years and you said this year, well, 2024, you had more capital. Tell us about that journey. Why did you have more capital in 2024 than maybe you
Right. So the more houses that are sold, there's more profit. So that
Yep.
profit can be introduced into other projects. So
Right.
if I sell one really good project, now I have two more that I can do.
Absolutely.
So that's how that grows.
Nice.
I use fewer investors
Nice. Okay.
to be able to help along with that, and I use more of my own lines of credit, HELOCs, things like that. So
Absolutely. So would you say if someone out there that has never invested before and they're like, how do I get into this game? And I see Megan doing all these deals. Oh my gosh. Well, you're 8 years into this. How does someone start right off the bat? Like, how do they get their toes in
don't
investing?
quit your job.
Keep it don't quit your day job.
Your job.
Yes.
If you can have a line of credit, a HELOC, off
Okay.
of your home. I think a lot of people get started that way, and that's how I got started.
Beautiful.
Was to do a HELOC.
Nice.
And so I had enough to put down on a pretty inexpensive home.
Yep.
And then I had enough to be able to do the work on it.
Right.
So I think that that's the way that a new person should go about doing it. Keep your job,
Yep.
hire a contractor, really rely on them to complete the work.
Yep.
Try not to do a lot of work yourself.
Oh, I
think
can't
you
stress
can do
that
it
enough.
quickly enough.
Yes.
But if you're full-time and then you're trying to do work on a home,
Right.
you might be 3, 4, 5 additional months and trying to get it on the market, and you're paying interest on that.
Yeah.
And so where you might have spent another $15,000 in interest,
Right.
you could have spent $7,000 having somebody install the flooring and do the painting and maybe
Get it
do the
done.
roof. And so the savings doesn't help.
Absolutely.
So I think it's just dive in.
Yep.
If the math works, do it.
Yes.
Try not to be too paralyzed with the first time. I know that
Yes.
I've had a couple of first time clients do
Yep.
their
Yep.
houses. And it can be very nerve-wracking, but that's what a
Yes.
good agent is for.
Yes. Yes. People
Stay calm.
underestimate
I've
that.
got it. Yeah, I've got it.
Yes.
I've got it handled for you. We'll get
Right.
through it.
Absolutely. And I'll definitely say if someone is investing, don't do it alone. There's so many people that can help. And it is so important to have a good agent that actually invests themselves. Don't go with an agent that has never done an investment because it's a different mindset. They look at it different. They see things different versus someone that's going to look at it as an end user and they're going to live in a home. So that's really important. So
Right.
that's great that you said that. So HELOC, for those who don't know what a HELOC is, you want to explain real quick what a HELOC
Well,
is?
it's a home equity line of credit.
Yeah.
And so if you have a primary home that you live in and
Right.
you've had it for quite a few years, you might have enough equity in there where you can
Yeah.
pull a loan from it.
Yes.
So it's just a line of credit. You can pull from it, you can pay it back, you can pull from it, pay it back. And I still have a line of credit on one of my houses
Yes,
that I
absolutely.
can pull from.
Absolutely.
yeah.
I do as well. I have a property that I pull, I buy a couple houses, and then I put it back. And I'm like, yes, I got a free and clear property. Thank you, rental. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2024 was a success for you. And what do you think, besides liquidity, what do you think that you did differently than the years prior to?
So well, for me, I did try to purchase more homes off of the MLS.
Okay.
Because as an agent, I
Yes.
was able to be compensated for that. That helped me with my salary.
Yes. Yep.
And I also established some good relationships with other agents. And so some of the agents will say, "Oh my gosh, I have a family member who has this house. They're a
Right.
hoarder.
Yep.
They don't know what to do with the property. I know I'm not going to be able to put it on the market and sell it.
Right.
They maybe have mobility issues, so showing it isn't going to be an option." And so a lot of houses came my way that way.
Right.
And those tend to be pretty good homes.
Nice.
So a couple of the home runs that I had were those types of houses.
Got it. Okay. One thing I get told a lot is I can't find a deal. I can't find a deal.
Yeah.
And then I have you that and multiple other people that just swarm. They keep on coming multiple deals a month. What do you think got you to that point? Is it the relationships that you've built and that is why? Or
Yes.
how do you find deals?
Right. So I don't follow the typical equation that a lot of the investors do. So my requirement for profit is much lower.
Got it. Okay.
So I can do more deals.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm going to do 24
Yes.
deals.
Yes. 23 deals. 2025. 25. Yes. Yeah. We're going on a theme here.
So I can do more deals just because my requirement isn't
Right.
very high for profit. So I don't necessarily look at the profit return. I look
Right.
at the dollar amount. So
Yes.
can I make 40 grand on it?
Perfect.
That's a good deal for me.
Yep.
If I'm spending $200,000 on a rehab and I make 40, that's not a good deal for me.
Right.
But it's all relative.
Yes.
So I know that I'm going to be spending $200,000 on a rehab. I'm probably purchasing a home with a pretty long spread there.
Right.
And so there is going to be some profit in there for me to be able to.
Got it.
Yeah.
So then tell me this. You mentioned that you can do a shorter profit than other people. Is it one of your concerns is to also keep your crew running? Because you have people and you have designated people.
Yes.
So it's important to keep them busy.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, does that play into the fact of like making sure
It can. I don't think it's been so important as it has been in the previous years. That company that I worked with for a while that I wanted to keep busy.
Yeah.
They no longer work for me.
Got it. Okay.
And so now it's okay. Well, we have this new crew. They are patient enough.
Yeah.
They might have a week where they're not doing some work, but then
Yeah.
they know that we're going to start. So it's communicating with them, letting them know,
Yes.
hey, it's going to close and we're going to roll right into it. We've got the
Right.
dumpster showing up. We're going to do a walkthrough beforehand. So you know exactly what needs to be done. So yes and no. I think it's more for me. I'm a real estate agent, and then I have another business flipping houses. So as a real estate agent, I have requirements. So when I'm purchasing houses on the MLS, that's probably where I can kind of have a leaner profit margin.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I'm getting compensated with the purchase. I know that I'm going to be getting the listing. I'm listing my own full price listing.
Yes.
And then there's the profit in between.
Right.
So if the profit margin isn't what a normal equation or investor is going to look at, they're not going to take it.
Right. Yeah.
They're saying, no, I'm not interested in doing it. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. It does. So what was one thing that you learned in 2024? Tell me Was there a project
Yeah.
that you're like, I know this now? Because sometimes in investing, it doesn't, learning and growth doesn't come with the cash. It comes from the opportunity
Yes.
of an experience. So was there one that
Yes.
sticks out?
Neighborhoods matter.
Yes, tell me about that.
And so I had a detrimental mistake that I did in a Mill Creek property, and
Got it.
a lot of the comps that I had pulled
Yep.
for this, I did make adjustments too, because the houses that we're selling were in the
Yep.
golf
Yep.
club. This house was just one block away from the golf club.
Yep.
So I made a $150,000 adjustment on what I
Yeah.
thought that I could sell the house for. Well, I ended up selling it for $100,000 less than that. even.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yep.
So that was a mistake. I
Yep.
really should have looked for more that were outside of the golf course.
Yep.
I'm not even taking those into consideration, because it's just, I mean,
It's just different.
you're just buying.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then there was a couple others that were just in bad locations. Maybe you're on a busier road or had a bad neighbor.
Right.
So I've learned about that.
Yes.
Just to be very careful about the house.
Because in 2022 and 2021, houses were flying off the shelves, and it didn't matter if the neighbor, what it looked like, because they were trying to fight it. Now that there's an adjustment in the market, you kind of have to be a little bit more cautious. What about 2025? Now that you've had that information, you would say, hey, I need to adjust and pivot here. I'm not going to do that. Is there anything that you see with the market in 2025 with the rates or anything that you were doing differently for this year?
So if we back up and we look at the way that the market is, the first half of the years is always a very good year.
Right.
Things are faster. People are getting pre-approved. Kids are in school. They're people aren't vacationing as much.
Right.
Life isn't happening as much as it does in the last half of the year with, I say Memorial Day week. We have Labor Day weekend. We have Halloween. We have all the holidays.
Yes.
Okay. So, and when purchasing properties for this time of year,
right,
I hate saying that I'm going to ride the appreciation wave, but there is some appreciation that happens because the comps are coming out, and there are still multiple offers. We don't have a lot of inventory.
Right.
Another thing that I am focusing on more is condoization. We can have a whole nother conversation about that.
Yes, we could definitely talk about that because that is huge in the state of Washington.
It is
very big, 100%.
And so the cities have an overlay that allow for lots to be condoized, and that allows for the condo to own the property, and that each unit to be sold separately. So where there may not be lot status and you don't want to split the lot or do a short plat, now you have a smaller lot where you're now allowed to build a dadu or have two attached units. And so that's the thing that's been going on in the city of Everett.
Yes.
They're very quick to get permits approved. You can literally probably 6 weeks and you have a permit in hand.
That's beautiful.
It's amazing.
For people that don't know, that is very quick.
It's amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
And city of Seattle is also has done that as well. So I know that Everett and Seattle are probably the two cities where a lot of people are really trying to focus on that. Now, Marysville, they take 9 months to review. So they need to.
You know what's really interesting too is Kent, but no one's going there. Like Kent, quickly.
Really?
Yeah. 3 to 4 weeks, you got it. And because they are eagerly wanting more affordable housing.
Okay.
But it's just demographically, it's not as a desired area, and people are just not going to there as well. So Kent is an area people are doing the dadu play as well. It's just not as aggressively.
Interesting.
And anything over 2025, anything over cities with 20,000 population can do this as well. So it's going to start way more popular. So it's good that you're getting on the bandwagon before everyone else is trying to jump the boat.
Right.
Do it.
So when they talk about affordable housing, they're really or making housing affordable. This is how they're doing it. Is the dadus are usually about 1,000 square feet. You'll have a garage or not have a garage, but it lowers that price point and that point of entry for people to be able to buy.
Yes.
I know that they do allow for FHA financing with a detached unit, but not VA yet for some reason.
Right.
But so that's what I've been focusing on a little bit more. I also have in Gold Bar have a duplex that I'm turning into a condo. And so the condo docs are almost done. The duplex is going to go on the market here pretty soon, but they're going to be sold as townhomes.
Yes.
And what's really great about this is that they already had the water meters, separated water meters. They have separate power meters. I'm putting septic tanks in on each side. I have to do septic tank. I haven't told you that. If I have
Oh,
to do
okay.
another subject.
We've been working together for a really long time, and I know our deal. So yes. Okay, we'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I purchased it for $479.
Yeah.
Each side's probably getting about $50,000 worth of work.
Okay.
And my hope is to put it on the market for $375,
Perfect.
$385 per unit.
Yeah.
So that's
That's good to
decent.
say. Yeah, that's like
And
a
it's great because it's a it's a nice little house for somebody to buy.
Yes,
They're gonna
absolutely.
have a shared wall, but other than that, low HOA,
And they own it.
and they own it, and it's got a
Absolutely.
great backyard, great location.
100%.
Yeah. So that's just an example of what I'm doing is purchasing something that's already built and permitted
Yes.
as whatever it is. Now
Yep.
I'm gonna put it into the condo, I'm gonna condoize it through Snohomish County and then sell them separately.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about investors is their ability to adapt. Like years ago, like you were the queen of manufactured homes, like fixing them up and getting them done. If anyone can do it, you're going to do it. You're going to find a way. And then you started doing like houses and flipping them. And then now you're like saying, this is the opportunity, and you're doing the daddy play. So that's, I believe, what makes people successful in investment space is they're willing to adapt in what the market needs and sees. And so that's awesome. I'm excited for you to do many.
It's being nimble.
Yeah.
Right. And then having the best partner to be able to do that with.
Yeah.
So you look at a deal and say, well, gosh, this is kind of new. I don't really know a lot of information about that. Let me learn more.
Absolutely. Growing and learning. 100%. There's always someone that knows a lot more than you do.
Right.
So then that's your focus for 2025. What about the market in itself? To like dive into the market, do you think it's going to slow down a little bit? Do you think it's speeding up? Like, I know we're in Washington, so I mean, we're in 16 different states, so I kind of get the pleasure of seeing what other states are doing, what other cities are doing. But we're strong, but I would love to hear your input. What do you see for Washington?
We still have a housing shortage.
Yeah.
I'm on the bond planning committee for my kids' school district.
Yeah.
And our last meeting was talking about the housing shortages, and then how do they determine how many schools they need per new housing starts.
Yes.
So they have a number for single family homes, which is like 0.34 of a kid in elementary. And then they have
that point. That is one that really messes things up.
Then they have a townhome.
Yes.
They have a townhome number, which is half of that. And so they said, we are going to have a couple of our elementary schools at capacity within the next couple of years.
Yes.
And there actually is an elementary school that's going to be losing children because there are fewer children being born in the United States and in our area than there have been in the past. And so it's very interesting what they're talking about. So we talk about having a housing shortage, but we also have we're talking about, well, there are fewer people being born.
Yeah.
But we still don't have enough housing for even the fewer people that are born.
Wow. That's crazy. And as a total side note, I've always been like, why do they have to do so much building in this area, but then the schools are overcrowded? I'm like, someone needs to like figure this out. And for every house they build, they need to put X amount for a school. So I'm glad to hear that there is some type of program, because it always seems off. At least in my area, I'm like, we have this huge Tahali area that's being built, and the schools are already overcrowded, and they're not even.
And everything is in arrears, right?
Yes.
So the planning that we're doing for the money now is going to be for anything in 2026.
Right.
And so it's like we have these numbers from 2023 and 2022, maybe 2024, but the money isn't going to be utilized until 2026. And the final product, whether it's a new school or a remodel or an expansion, that's not going to be seen until 2027 or 2028.
Yep.
Then they have a new study that says, well, we need more schools.
Well, then that also tells me that a benefit for you as an investor is to get involved and know your area, know the area that you're investing in, and know what that community is doing. So I'm assuming that helps you tremendously.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely. So get involved, people. Get involved. Exactly. Okay. So then what do you think everyone talks about interest rates? I kind of think they're calming down about
I don't really know. I don't even know.
Yeah. We don't have a crystal ball.
No idea.
We don't have a crystal ball. But do you think because of the housing shortage that the interest rate is going to affect Washington as much? Or do you think it's still riding on? I mean, are you still seeing multiple offers? What are you
We are
seeing?
still seeing multiple offers.
Yes. Yeah. What about the higher price point houses? Do you see that a lot, or is that slow down?
I think so. It depends on where the house is and what it's priced at.
Yeah.
So we have many agents in our office, and they could put a house up for sale in Bothell, it's absolutely beautiful and get multiple offers. And
Right.
Kirkland, Bellevue, things like that
Yes.
are going to be that type of sale. We don't really see that in Snohomish County very
Yes.
much.
And you are hyper focused on one area.
Yeah.
And can you tell me about that mindset and like why you do that? Because I do know that people will go out and there's pros and cons to both. So
Yeah.
you're in a highway 2 corridor
Mhm.
and you stay right there. Tell me why is that a decision for you?
I think that was a lot because maybe it was accidental. I do like the price point of buying homes in Snohomish County. They're still reasonable.
Yeah.
If I'm buying in King County, I'm going to be spending $200,000-$300,000 more. I am not really familiar with resale too much in King County.
Right.
So North King County, I can
Yeah.
do Shoreline or I think still Shoreline's King County. But I don't really head I don't go south much.
Yeah.
So with King County, it's easier. Landlord tenant laws are a lot easier. So let's say I have to hold on to a house and I have to put a tenant in it. It's just it's just easier. I'm more familiar with it.
Yeah.
And the price points are good too. So
Right.
even though there's a lower profit margin sometimes in those homes, it's more palatable for me to be able to make that payment.
Yes.
Because there was a time where I would sign in and I had 12 mortgages to pay with you guys. 12.
I love your face. I think you just need to name that.
I'm like, oh, there's $35,000 that is gone like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, you need to make sure that the asset is good. I totally get it. So then for 2025, you're focusing on a new direction of the ADU. So will you just share a couple of your wins of those 2 projects that were your ones that you really loved in 2024? Like what were those numbers and why were they so successful? Not just the liquidity, but like what made you go, these were my favorite in 2024?
Right.
What about them?
So I think the timing was really well. The project in Shoreline that I did is sold March, April, May. I can't remember, but it was in a really great time of year. The offer was lower than what I had listed the house for, but there still was a really big profit margin in it. This was an off market. The person that lived there, it was an estate sale. He was the heir, didn't have any money to make the mortgage payment. It was going to go into foreclosure. He needed to sell and move on. A little bit of a hoarder situation. There was just a lot of stuff acquired in there was an old above ground pool, which was really icky. Get rid of those. And so there wasn't anything major that needed to be done. We didn't move walls. We didn't take down walls. It already had a nice vaulted ceiling. It had a remodeled kitchen already, which was permitted.
Nice.
Which was really good.
Yes, absolutely.
So I just went in and did some cosmetic fixes. The backyard needed to be cleaned up and make it look like it was a really nice yard. And that was taking down the pool and the old decking. And I think that was probably $20,000.
Yeah,
just done.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it was just a really nice big house when it was done, and it appealed to a buyer.
Nice.
So that was great. That I think was $127,000 profit on it.
About that, yeah.
And I think some investors would probably watch this and say, I do that all day long. I'm like, great. I don't.
Yes. But you're very successful in what you do. And those golden nuggets, the ones that you make that profit, that really, it's nice. But it's also not always the realistic on every single one. And the ones that do tend to only do 1 or 2 a year. Instead of, 24 or 25 a year, they only do 1 or 2. So it's just on the different mindset of the business. So,
And then the other one is an older manufactured home. It was built in 1980.
Yeah.
It had a really big detached shop on the property, which is absolutely beautiful shop.
Right.
It was on 2 acres. It needed, some work. The septic was good. The well was good. It was, out there, and people like to have their space. Very nice flat front yard. And it got an offer the first day.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was a guy who loved the shop and wanted to work on his cars in the shop, and it was perfect for him. It was perfect. And so I think that was $34,000 profit on that.
Nice. But you're in and out.
In and out, right. So
yeah, you were in and out of that one.
Probably 90 days. I think it was deed to deed in 90 days.
Yes.
Because it didn't take long to fix it.
Right.
And having that offer on the first day. And I think they were able to close within like 3 weeks.
Yes. That was a quick one.
Yeah. So sometimes when I look at things, I think, okay, having it close early
Yeah.
or sell right away,
Yeah.
I may not be making a huge profit on it, but I'm rolling fast.
Yes.
So now I'm taking the profit, I'm taking the down payment money,
Yep.
and now I have enough to buy 2.
Yeah.
So I'm out and I'm biting those other 2 started, and hopefully we can just keep doing that.
Absolutely.
It's hard when they sit on the market for 30 days, which is normal, right?
Right.
Like,
yes.
like houses are sitting 30 to 60 days on the market.
And that is actually still normal. And that's still technically a seller's market. That is still a seller's market. So yes, absolutely. It's not
So the ones that get under contract right away or that
Yes.
get sold right away, those are really great, even if they're not a high profit margin. But this was, it just was a very efficient project.
Yes, I love that. I love it.
And this was interesting too, because it was a 3-bedroom septic, but it was a 2-bedroom home. And so I permitted through the labor and industry to be able to add a bedroom. So I turned the dining room into a bedroom, built a wall, did drywall, added a circuit because we needed to have a bedroom circuit.
Right.
And there's big soaking tubs, you know.
Yes.
That was like yucky. Had to pull that out and just put a regular tub in there.
Right.
So some of that was permitted, but Labor and Industries was really easy to work with. They're the factory assembled structures division of Labor and Industries. So we know Labor and Industries is electrical. But Labor and Industries also has a factory assembled structures. They deal with portables for schools. They deal with anything that is manufactured in a factory is factory assembled structures section of Labor and Industries.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So even if you're in the city limits and you think, oh, I need a pull permit with the city, no, Labor and Industries.
That's an advocate for people if they're doing that.
Just great jurisdiction to work with.
Oh, nice.
They are not, they just have their entirely different guidelines that they follow.
Nice.
Yeah. So
super easy.
Manufactured homes with Labor and Industries, factory assembled structures. Remember that.
So if you're doing manufactured homes, you want that. That's a golden nugget.
And build a relationship with the guy.
Yes.
Because I don't think that they work in areas. They might have offices in areas, but I think if you can get a guy who'll kind of travel wherever to inspect.
Yeah. Like, hey, you're my person to call. Yeah. Nice. And especially if you're like in and out and you have low holding costs. Who doesn't want $30,000, $40,000 in a couple of months? Like, I mean, you're not even also working every single day. So that I would take that. Absolutely.
I don't even think the interest accrue to over $10,000.
Yes. Yeah. Just get in and out and be done. So I'm always curious, you only flip. That's it. Why do you never hold? Is that changing in 2025?
No, it's not. No, if I have to hold a house, it's because I can't sell it.
Got it. Okay. And then, so is there a reason? Is that just like a personal belief or personal thing? Or is it just, that's not where you're at yet?
No, I like the feeling of finding the deal. I like the feeling of going through and thinking about what it can be. It's an outlet for me. I get a lot more satisfaction with just that process than I do holding on to something and then having a person move in and then and I never get to enjoy it.
Right. Instead of, I bet you go down the street and be like, I did that one, I did that one, I did that one.
Yeah. That's definitely never it.
Yeah.
Oh, I looked at that house.
Absolutely. 100%.
But I looked at it. Yeah.
Do you ever go buy a house and be like, oh, I wish I would have kept that? Like that never?
No.
Never. Really?
No. I think the only thing that I do is I think after the house is finished, I think I would live here. Yeah. If I didn't live where I live, I didn't have, kids in school.
Right.
I would live here. This would be a really great house for me.
Right.
So I think that's the most attachment that I have.
Yes.
That I want to.
Would you, getting attached to people's work and flipping an investment is actually a real thing. Yeah. People get very sentimental about their projects. Any advice? I know I got advice about this, but any advice? Do you see that being an issue when people do? Or
I mean, yeah, sure. I think people, they could overinvest.
Yeah.
You're doing something that really isn't necessary.
Right.
Or it's my decision.
Yes.
And this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
But not thinking there are 3 options and maybe I'll just take the option that is more, I don't know, reasonable.
Right. How do people connect with you or get connected to you? Like where they should go?
You can call or text me.
Yes.
That's the best way to go. So 206-550-0671.
Absolutely.
I have a Instagram handle, Megan_Wilaby. You guys will probably have it.
Yes, we'll put it in the caption, so it'll be beautiful. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm willing to help. So
Yeah.
if somebody wants to have lunch with me and ask me a bunch of questions about how flipping house, happy to give my time.
Absolutely. And if anyone in Snohomish is looking for their first deal, they need to call you because you're the person. I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, always love it.